Well, I'm burning the midnight oil here in the workshop, and no greater refuge for the male or the man in any situation than out with his lathe and his equipment to try out all the things he wants to do. It's not all he builds, but it's the fun in building it. And I always had a weakness in my skills was in brazing and silver soldering, and it was really caused by a lack of oxygen and acetylene and gas. And one of the mistakes I was always making was I thought I had to have acetylene. You don't need acetylene. It's for very strict things, certain uses. Propane is quite okay. And since Hobbywell come on the scene, and I'd love to see Hobbywell doing very well, because they're a great company. You pay a deposit on your oxygen cylinder, and you leave it back when you're done, and you get a replacement. Now the half full cylinder, you know, the big cylinder, the big high one you get commercially, half of that is about €110 to replace, to refill, and that's not too bad. Now it uses 3 times as much oxygen for propane as acetylene. But when you take all into account and the convenience of propane, and it's easy to get, I think that propane oxypropane is the way to go. I might still use acetylene for certain things, but one of the things I'm at here when I get things quiet and get out here is the idea of inserts, carbide inserts. Now you can buy them, and I have them here. Here, I hope you get them here. I'm using the back of the camera, so I'm not sure, but these are the ones here, and the code on these that fits my lathe is SCLCR1616H09, and I've got a set of these before. They were €68. They're now, I think, 99 with VAT and all for these little inserts. Now, for certain things, this fits my lathe perfectly. A 3-foot lathe is ideal, and it's a 6-inch height or 12 swing, but they're expensive, and the chip at the edge, no matter what you do with the chip. Now you have 2 edges on this type, you have this one and that one. The side edges are no good. Now it's getting a little cold here. It's cold tonight. The date tonight is about the 28th, maybe touching into the 29th of May 2025. So one of the things that I'm trying here is, can I braze on the little inserts? Because if you go to the variety marts and you look around some of the boys there, you could often get 40 or 50 of these heads for €5, maybe €10. And like, these are tungsten carbide. These are the last word in hardness when you want to cut hard stuff. Now high-speed steel still has a place. I wouldn't be without high-speed steel. Here it is. Here you have to grind it down to fit. This is one here, and I've several holders here, and for cutting threads and that sort of stuff it's very good, but still it's nice to have a bit of tungsten carbide. It's the modern thing. So here's an example of a braze on. This is just an ordinary bit of mild steel. It's I'd say it's half by half. I'd say ½ inch by ½ inch. Might be a wee bit less, might be 12 by 12, but it's a piece of steel, and you just grind it down here at the top, and you put on your top. Now when you go to braze, this fella'll move. Unless you have it perfectly balanced, it'll move. What happens is the braze goes in under it with capillary action and this moves. So by right it needs some kind of a fire break or something to keep it in its place. Now I've tried with brass solder, pure brass, and if you could get brass to work, and I think I will yet, it's the real job because it's the cheapest. You use flux, of course. Have my flux here. There it is. Have your piece of flux. Wet it slightly. Put a little bit of fairy liquid in. So I've ground down here, and I put my tungsten carbide insert, and then I heat it back here and bring it up till it goes to melt. Now, what I've been using then and what I've found to use and the most successful to date is sorry for not being better prepared. This is brass here, but this here is the coated 31% silver solder. I got it from Oxyarc in Dundalk, and you can get it from other suppliers. For very fine work, I get it from England, from Coop Alloys. They're very good, but for it's expensive. No, it's not too bad, but it's just awkward getting it. So anyway, this has worked. Now the first attempt at this failed, and when I let it cool, it didn't stick right. I don't know why, but it's very important to remember that you need to let it cool. If this is not a low enough temperature, you're going to get it moving until it sets. You have to let it set. So now this is 31% silver. Now, then I tried another rough one. Look at this big piece of steel here. Now, good old piece of mild steel will do the job. Cheap as anything. And here I have a head brazed on, and this is brazed on with 31% silver as well. So there's a little bit of expensive silver in there, and you might get away maybe with 15% or less. But the edges of these chip. And this one, I only tested for a while, but admittedly on a piece of very hard steel. Not fully hardened, but tough stuff. And it did cut it beautifully, but it chipped a bit here. And that's what you'll find, all tungsten carbide to chip. So what I'm trying to get at is a situation where I'd be able to degrease this here with a good degreaser, heat it up again and just turn it around. That would mean I'd get 3 cuts out of this. Now it seems to be hard for the makers to make them with a hole in the center, and you can buy holders for these. Like this is one here. They're all right. They're okay. I'm not making little of them, but they don't seem to be as neat a cutter as this. So what I'm trying to get to a situation is where I'll be able to get each side of this used, heat it again down here, watch it till it goes to move, have some appliance to just twist it round, put a bit of flux on it, a wee bit of water and a wee bit of fairy liquid, and when it goes to move, to turn around. So I have there's a bit left in this yet. Pity not to use this and use this. So that would be a great system. And when you have oxypropane, it would be a cheaper system in my view. Now here is an example of where I tried brass and it ran into a big bubble here. Not the best, but if you see here, I broke it off here. I can't see myself here, now bear in mind that I broke it off here. Now, the big question is, does the high temperature damage the tungsten carbide? And it seems to me it does not. All the indications are it does not. So this bit broke off, so then I turned it, and now I'm after cutting that bit. What you're after seeing there is cut by this one. And now I have this one here to use. And over this side, I have 2. I have one here, and I have one here, you see. So these flat pieces are cheap. And they're available second-hand if you go to the variety marts. I shouldn't be telling people because there's so great service being provided by people who go to England and buy second-hand stuff and bring it to the variety marts. And they're the very best of people. Every one of them I know are really good. And it's a great day's out if nothing else. But anyway, you see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to perfect a situation where I can have my own tungsten carbide cutters. That one there is typical. When this gets a bit chipped here, it gets a bit dull. Hopefully I'll be able to heat it here with the oxypropane, degrease it fully, if necessary, steep it overnight, and then make sure it's not flammable, and then put on a nice piece of flux and heat it up, and when it goes to move, just turn it with some device. I'll have to come with some type of a device. Just turn it around, hopefully, and then you have this side, and then you can turn it to this side. Do you understand? Now, I fully appreciate, folks, I'm not able to see myself here, so it's a bit of a problem, but that'd be a great way of working if you could do that. If you could do that, as long as you can get the inserts, you'd probably get those. You see, the thing is, it looks like some of them are used in special industries, or once they're used, or they're thrown out, or whatever. Whereas the ones that these are expensive because these are big in demand. These are the ones they use, and they're big in demand. But as you can see, this one here, it's well and truly blunted. Like it's not good. I have another one here now, and it's turned as well, and it's damaged. But they're both HO9. They're HO9. Or I'll be buying a set for them. But anyway, that's the best way there. That seems to work very good, and hopefully for the vintage people, it's just to let you know that this will work. But I think you still have to go with a wee bit of silver in the solder. I'd say you'd need at least 15%, maybe 21. This is 31 again. I haven't had great success with the pure brass. I haven't had great success with the pure brass, or even indeed pure bronze. Now, the other thing is, with tungsten carbide, you'd probably get away without lubricant at all. If you get a lot of lubricant on this, you'll have to try to get it off it again. But if you cut dry and just switch your tungsten around, your piece of tungsten, you probably wouldn't need too much lubricant. And if you don't need lubricant, you see, when you go back to it, you'll have it nice and oil free. There's a beautiful joint there now, a lovely joint that I get. Now, you can get eye protection. You need a shade 5 for your eyes. I find the shade 5, you can get little glasses like these. They're over there, and they can sometimes go missing, so you nearly want 2 sets. They're about €15. You can also get the big ones with the 2 roundy holes in the front. Do wear eye protection, because there is ultraviolet light. Anyway, that's it, folks. I'll just go around the other side now and turn this off. So all told, what I've proved to myself is that you can make your own cutters for the tool post of the lathe using ordinary mild steel, but grind it down a bit, and brazing on your tungsten carbide insert onto it. It does work, and we'll see you back soon. I have to just go around to turn off, you know what I mean. Bye. Okay.